Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Vobes show. Today is the 19th of June 2020. Only a couple of days. Couple of days from the longest day. I think that is on Sunday, isn't it? Hang on. Or is it the 21st? It's the 21st. It's the 19th, so it's Friday. So it's Sunday. Sunday will be the longest day. It'll go on for years and years and years and years. And by the time you get back, you'll need some gears and gears and gears and gears. You will. It's a factum totem pole. This is the Vobes show. It's Friday, and on the show with me tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have, of course, the lovely Julia. Let's. I can't find the mouse. There's the mouse. Let's get over onto the Skype. Oh, hang on. Where are you, lovely Julia? Whew, there she is. Hello to you, lovely Julia. Oh, hang on. I've got to just put your volume back up. There we go. Now, in order for me to hear you, I have to put the microphone on. So it's a complicated system, but that is the way it is. How are you?
Hello, I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm not too bad, thank you very much. Here in jolly old Worthing, you in jolly old
Lancing.
Lancing. And today you're looking very lovely and purple, as everything is purple on today's show. I'm looking a bit in the pink. Can you see the lovely Julia, all the people out there in the Vobosphere?
With any luck, they can.
Can you see the lovely Julia, all the people in the Vobosphere? Can you see the people in the Vobosphere?
Oh my gosh, brain cell needs switching on today. Yes.
Oh, good. I wondered if you would be ever so polite just to say hello to a few people.
Yes, I can say hello to lots of people. We have Days of Yore. Hello. Hello, Wendy Lowry. Hello, Ernie the Milkman. Hello, Barry Stevens. Hello, Turbo Stream. Hello, Michael Angel. Hello, Connor's Dark Corner. Hello, Ed. Hello, Sean's Kitchen Garden and Homestead. Hello, Judith. Hello, lovely. Hello, Mark G. Hello, Mike Stevens. Hello, Michael Angel. Have I said you already? Doesn't matter. Hello, Glastonbury Gabriel. Hello, Ron Langley. Hello, Alan Sandell. Hello, Josephine Suter. Hello, the Veg Grow podcast. Any more? Hello, Ramaboo. Hello, Andrew Norris. Hello, Mike Dixon. Hello, Linda Kane. I think that's most of the usual culprits.
Fantastic. Welcome along to another exciting show. Very good of you to join. We've had a few technical issues at the beginning, head of the show, as ever, but I think we've sort of maybe, with any luck, sorted them out. Have you ever... We've got a theme for tonight, which we'll get onto in a moment, but and we've got videos, of course. But have you ever left anything in the oven, Julia?
Yes, I have.
Have you had oven catastrophes?
I have.
Give us an example then of it. Help me out here.
Recently, it was a pie, and I completely dried it out, and it was not worth anything but for the bin.
I've done the same. I ran out of bread. Needed some bread, and so I thought I'd make myself a loaf. Made myself a lovely loaf. Did the first bit, got it in the oven, looked really nice. Turned it upside down just to sort of tan the bottom. Went and had a bath, had something to eat. Started to answer some emails, went, oh, crikey! And here I've got something that is now rock hard.
What a shame.
It's so rock hard, ladies and gentlemen.
You're going to try and have a look.
I'm going to. I just have to just move you from the screen just for a second, Julia, so people can see what's going on. I don't know if you can see the situation now, yourself, Julia.
Me? Can I see your situation? Yes.
Yes, good, because I can't see what you see, so that's very helpful that you said. So what I'm going to do is take this knife and this thing. I'm going to try and.
Do you want to get the chainsaw?
Yeah, I might have to actually. Oh, bloody hell. So this is basically toast now. It does look nice. It does look nice.
It still looks edible.
There is a soft bit on the inside. So I don't know. I'm just gonna try eat it. I'm gonna spread this now. I'm gonna put you back on the screen so people don't have to look at me for too long. So anyway, our theme for tonight's show, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. Our theme for tonight's show is childhood memories. You may have noticed in the Bald Explorer group, I have started something called My Story. I didn't know whether anybody would be interested in the autobiography of his baldness, but I was a bit stuck for something, and I thought, I know, I'll just waffle about my life a little bit, and people were quite interested. So to start with lovely Julia. Julia, have you got childhood memories that you could relate to us whilst I'm just putting butter on this piece of bread?
I have. There's one in particular that strikes me. It was in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah, or near Jeddah, in the medical city that surrounds or is attached to King Khalid Abdulaziz Hospital. And I remember I was walking with my dad. It was a lovely, balmy evening.
Just before you get going, just give people a reason why you were there.
Well, in Saudi Arabia.
People, not everybody knows. You just have to remember, not everybody knows your personal history. So,
well, I partially grew up in Saudi Arabia.
Okay, that was the bit I was getting to. Just so that people don't know that Julia partially grew up there, because your father was there when you were very young.
We moved out there when I was about 15 months old.
Yeah.
And then moved back a week before my 7th birthday.
Oh, okay. So this time that you were out there, were living out there, was this in your 7-year-old period?
Well, I turned 7 just after we got back.
Okay, so
to the UK.
This was the second time you were out there.
Oh no, we moved to Kuwait about however many years later when I was.
Okay, whatever. Just tell your story then. Sorry, I was just trying to make it clear for everybody, because you said you were out there when you were like a baby. Then you said you were out there when you were 7. So that's what I was trying to get to. I was just trying to explain.
I was out there from 15 months to nearly 7 in Saudi.
Oh, right, all in one go.
Yes.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
One long stint.
Yes, I misunderstood. So that's quite a long stretch of time.
Yeah, it was a fair chunk of my childhood. And then we were back home in the UK. How many years? I don't know, but it must have been 10, 11, when we moved back out to the Middle East, to Kuwait.
Right, okay.
And we lived there for about 18 months.
Oh, okay.
But, this memory...
Yes. How old were you?
I must have been about 5.
Oh, okay, cool. Just so we got the measure of it. I'm just trying to sort of make it clear for those that haven't a clue.
Yeah.
Like me.
Well, the story's going to be pretty naff now.
No, it's not. It's not. You've got to put context in. You just got to put context in.
Well, no, I just remember my dad and I were walking. I can't remember. We might have been for a swim, actually, an evening swim, and we were on our way back to the apartment, the flat. And I remember my dad doesn't really speak much. So I was just filling the void and just chatting away to my dad. And I was telling him about, Dad, do you know if you dig deep enough, you'll find water? And he's like, oh, yes, that's true. Very well done. And I'm like, yes, my dad thinks I'm cool. Anyway, so I then go on to say that, do you think if you dig even deeper that you'll find sharks as well? And I just remember the long pause, and then he just kind of looked at me. I don't think so, dear. This is just a random, weird little memory, but yeah. So I thought we'd find sharks if you dig deep enough.
Because where you were was out in the desert, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, at the edge of the desert, between the desert and the coast.
So water, I mean, as a kid, you're growing up there in Saudi Arabia, water is not sort of like as plentiful as it is over here.
Well, the landscape is not green, as we saw in the Dubai video from, I can't remember the fellow's name.
David, from David Chamberlain.
That's it, David Chamberlain.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we saw he sent in a video on the Vobes show. Was that last week or the week before, or sometime? Anyway. Yeah.
I think it was last week.
Anyway, yeah. So there's not a lot of greenery there. So of course, you can imagine a child would say something like that. Waters dig deep down, you find water, and sharks and things might well be in the water. I think I assumed that it must be the sea that reaches under there. Not really understanding the whole water table and things like that. Well, you're 5. If you're 5 or 6, that's perfectly fine, isn't it?
Yeah, I get. Yeah,
I would have said so. Yeah, I would have said so. Be interesting to find out what other people's views are on. They're not views; they're memories of childhood time. That's what we want to get.
Mike Stevens has just asked me a question.
Yeah.
Do you speak Arabic, Julia? He says, "Shway shway." which is little, and that is as little as I speak.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
Apart from yola, yola, which is essentially hurry.
Do they say that a lot?
I heard it a lot.
Are they impatient over there then? When you were there, were they impatient? Did it seem to be?
Yeah, I suppose. They were vastly different. I mean, because all other cultures that were living out there, because obviously it wasn't obvious, but the medical city, the little village we lived in, attached to the hospital, it was all staff basically. And of course, Saudis don't really work. They employ in from everywhere else in the world. So, I mean, the difference between all of these multiple cultures, everything from, all the Western white places to the Philippines and other such. Oh, and in India. But, all of that melting pot of cultures all in the one little village, even that was much more understandable than the one culture that was outside. It was very hard to comprehend at that age.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's absolutely, especially if you're being brought up in one culture and you're 5, and you've got to try and understand and accept and comprehend a completely different culture. I can see that would be quite tricky.
Yeah, someone else asked what my dad does or did to have us out there, and it's just but he's a computer programmer by trade.
Right. And
he was a computer programmer, head of the computer systems at the hospital or something like that. Running the IT department, essentially.
Ah, right. Very, very important job. And obviously was paying quite well to bring out the whole family to come and do that.
Absolutely. It meant that he and my mum could buy the house that they are currently living in.
Yeah.
Get a big enough, chunk of money to
back over here.
Be able to afford to pay the mortgage each month.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, well, there we are. Rambo says you might find a shark fossil depending on where you dig.
This is true. It's true.
So you never quite know. Nigel Sadler says, I know what you mean, Ed. I go to the Thunderbird age, then stop. We've got a phone call coming in. I haven't opened the lines yet, but that doesn't stop our determined callers. Hello to you, calling on the Vobes Show.
Hello, it's Gabriel.
Hello, Gabriel. How are you?
Hello, and hello, Julia. Lovely to see you.
Hello,
lovely in purple tonight. Excellent.
Just a little bit.
Can you hear, Julia? We were doing a test earlier because good. We were just doing a test on the phone earlier because last time we had an issue and I think we've solved it now.
Yes, it's looking very posh at this end.
Oh, thank you. Yes, if you could see behind the scenes. Anyway, yes.
Childhood memories.
Yes, please.
I just want to say one thing before I go into childhood memories. I was absolutely blessed by having a wonderful pair of parents who gave me what could only be described as kind of an idyllic childhood, really.
Oh, you lucky devil.
Do you know what? I mean, they never got divorced. They're still together now, although my dad's in a home with dementia. It was a solid family unit. And I think that is so important. And that talks to your memories, doesn't it? That kind of, your memories come from that. I mean, I've got things like, I was walking to school one morning. I would have been about 5 with my mum, and she was pushing my sister in a pushchair. My sister's 3 years younger. I was running ahead as I do, and I was running past St Mary's Church, which was the local church. I went to a church primary school, and there's a bloke coming the other way with a push bike, and I tripped and fell on his bike.
Oh.
Yeah, and I got, like you, I still got a little scar up there, so I to show it. But I remember being whisked off to the little cottage hospital and being sort of put back together again and feeling sorry for myself.
No.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I always remember our holidays. You probably remember your holidays. We used to go to the Isle of Wight a lot. And I still, to this day, have this hankering to keep going back to the Isle of Wight. I think it's the 1950s roads with all the potholes in them that attract me. I don't know what it is. There's something over there, but I do love going back all the time.
It's a very lovely. It is a very lovely place, and as you say, it is a bit of a time capsule.
It is, and they have these weird shops where you go in and buy your vegetables, but you can also buy a ton of cement in the same shop. It's weird, the sort of shop mixes they have going over there.
Well, you can almost do that in a supermarket these days, but not quite cement.
No, probably not. But yeah, I mean, I remember on holiday, and another thing, you know, it's like birthday parties when you're a kid, and you know all those things, and I remember feeling safe. Is that a memory? Is that a memory? I suppose it is, isn't it?
Well,
I remember feeling safe. I never felt scared as a child.
Right, and I'm sure there's plenty of children out there, unfortunately, who do have that, you know, have it as part of a default memory that is what childhood is like, that you are frightened, especially
Absolutely.
at the moment with the potential child abuse that's gone on through the lockdown, which has put a lot of families under pressure, which must be
Exactly.
you know, and of course it's interesting. I mean, that we talk like that because there'll be kids now with the memories etched on of that funny time when we couldn't go out.
Yes, yeah, they'll have those memories, won't they?
And you know, school stopped, and I think it's
Poppy, no, Poppy, stop it.
Poppy,
Poppy,
Poppy, stop it, Poppy.
Oi,
Poppy.
Sorry.
Poppy, for goodness sake, ouch! You get down, Poppy.
I have two filing cabinets where I keep all my camera gear, and she just jumped up there. So cats and camera gear don't mix.
Well, they might make some good films.
Well, she was already taken out one laptop this year by knocking a cup of coffee out.
Oh gosh, yeah, no, don't do that.
Well, I think again the cats. I mean, my mum had cats and loved cats, and that's something I've grown up with. You know, I mean, I've now got 3 cats.
Yes, have you?
And I wouldn't be without them. And I think that again, your childhood steers what you become, doesn't it?
Well, I think animals are very good, aren't they, for children to understand about life and death.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, you know, it is one of those things, unless it's a stuffed animal, that it will eventually come to its demise. And that's something that a child has to deal with in some emotional state, depending on how old they are and how attached, I suppose, they are to the cat. How do your children, Julia, deal with the death of animals?
Well,
obviously Jojo doesn't understand it because he's too young.
He doesn't understand yet. But I mean, Elijah, 4.5 years ago, I had to have my male cat put down, Rocky. Bless him, he was a great cat. He was with me for quite, you know, a long time, about 13 years, and you know, he was by my side through some hard times. You know, I went from being single to married and then children. Anyway.
So you mentioned, you know, hard times there, single to being married to having children. Very hard times.
No, I know, but the single thing went on for quite some time, and there was long-term sick off work and things like that, depression, blah, blah, blah. The cat was one thing that kept me on some sort of track. Anyway, but so Elijah had known Rocky, you know, since babyhood, etc., etc. So 4 years ago, he would have been 9, take away 4, and
5.
Yeah, that's the one. And he had a very good bond with Rocky. He was a great cat. I've said that already. So he struggled a lot when we, you know, I had to bring Rocky home, because I like to bring them home and bury them myself. It's part of my grieving process. Yeah, even up to 6 months ago, he was saying, I really miss Rocky. And it was really, you know, heart-wrenching. Mm. Yes, I miss him too, you know. I knew him for a lot longer, and, you know, we both really miss him. It's hard. But, and yet, and since lockdown, since the COVID-19 pandemic, we've lost, unfortunately, his paternal grandfather, whose birthday it was actually yesterday. Stuck in my throat there. And he's got, you know, although we watched on the webcast the funeral and things like that, he still doesn't really get it, you know. He still doesn't really understand that he's lost his grandfather.
Yes, because he's not been able to go and attend to a funeral or see the rest of the family, and other than just be told.
Even I'm finding it hard to believe I'm never going to see him again.
Yeah, so these are memories that will be etched on as a, you know, due to the lockdown, things that I guess, you know, the governments, when they're sort of making these decisions, probably haven't thought through that all these sort of things are happening. But let's try and raise up the fun of the show. What's your earliest memory, Gabriel?
My earliest memory is I was laying in a pram in my mum and dad's front living room, and people were looking at me.
Gosh.
They've been doing that ever since and pointing mostly, but
Yeah.
back then it was. I remember the wallpaper, and I know I'm correct because I've mentioned this to my mum, and I described the wallpaper. She said, "Yeah, that was the wallpaper in the lounge."
Gosh.
But just to give you the measure of my parents, and my mum in particular, I'll finish in this one last little story.
Yeah.
Which I found out from my mum a while ago. When I was young, I had this blue and white pedal car. Back then, they were proper pressed metal. It was beautiful. It had a horn which worked on a battery. I loved this thing. I went everywhere in it. It was my pride and joy. I found out probably no more than 5 or 6 years ago from my mum that there was a choice between her getting a new coat and me getting that pedal car. I got the pedal car.
Oh.
That's all I need to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, have a great night, you guys.
Thank
Love
you.
the show and look forward to the rest of it.
Thank you very much. We're going to go and
And
play
you
a video
take
now.
care.
Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. There we are. That's
Bye-bye.
lovely Gabriel out there. And I think we'll kick off with a Gabriel video, shall we?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. That will raise up the mood. So just say goodbye to Julia for one moment whilst I patch myself through. I always forget how to do that. And get into the video mode. I thought I was in the video mode. There we are. And look for Gabriel's video. There it is. Enjoy this. This is a continuation of Gabriel's sort of hunt around for interesting places. And I think this is still to do with brides, the hill. Anyway, here we are, transported back to Glastonbury.
So I'm leaving the mound, beg your pardon, behind me. It's up there. You can just about make it out as a hill now. And I'm heading down to, there's a water course down here. I'm not sure what it is. It's not the River Brew, I don't think. Well, it might be. It could be the River Brew. Anyway, there's supposed to be a well down here. So I've come down here to look for that. So, about now it's time to fess up to what can only be described as an epic fail. Having looked at the map before arriving on site, I thought this area contained the well. Wrong. This map will explain. I started at the top left of the picture on the mound, shown as a square. I then walked down the hill to the area with an X, thinking that's where the well was. But no, it's actually way over here by the arrow. Have to come back another day to look at that. So from down by the gate here, you do get a little sense of it being a hill. As I say, it's not a massive hill. Don't you just love the sound of nature? Back at the start of the video I mentioned the 2016 archaeological dig that took place here. Well, in a combination of incredible good luck and a bucket full of serendipity, Google Maps are using 2016 aerial imaging, meaning we now have a full 360 aerial degree view of the dig taking place and the exposed chapel itself. And here is that imaging. As mentioned earlier, the skeletons found here have been dated to the 5th century, meaning they are Romano-English Celtic people. To put this into some perspective, this site predates Iona in Scotland, founded in the 6th century, and Glastonbury itself, founded in the 7th. In the spirit of all good things must come to an end, it's now time for me to head home. It is really beautiful here. I must come back again soon, if only to shoot the well. I do like trees like this. If you do come to Glastonbury, you really must come visit here. It is so pretty. To the right here you can see more evidence of the work done by the Friends of Breeds. They have planted an avenue of alternate wild cherry and rowan trees. I think they grow quite big, don't they? Okay, well thank you for joining me today on this little walk to Bridie's Mound here. Just a short video. I'll put more information in the description down below and a link to the archaeological dig. I think I can find that. But anyway, I hope you liked it. If you did, please like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications of when I do these videos, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
There we go, the lovely Glastonbury hunting for a well that he couldn't find. But he will find it next time. But lots of other interesting and wonderful facts. That camera he's got that he's using there, so very clear. Let's just retune into the lovely Julia, make sure that she's still there. Hello, lovely Julia.
Unmuting. Hello, lovely Richard.
Oh, there we go. I just put my headphones on, I can hear you then. That was nice. That was very good, wasn't it?
Yes, it was thoroughly enjoyable.
Fantastic. And thank you, Gabriel, for giving us a call in earlier. We look forward to the next exciting instalment. Julia, have you had a chance to have a look at some of the comments? I noticed that I think Linda Kane was asking if I'd ever had a pet. I have had a pet, but only when I was a kid. Well, my children have had pets when I was married and stuff. They've had hamsters and guinea pigs, and the guinea pigs was a disaster. They were just a very unfriendly guinea pig. Didn't want to know. We barely saw them. The whole of their little lives, we barely saw. But I had a cat when I was a kid and a dog when I was a kid, and I had parents as well, 2 animals.
Ramaboo 2 says, my first cat I got for my 5th birthday, and she lived until I was 23. We did seem to lose a few dogs though.
Sorry, there was a sound of a car whizzing past.
I think it was a little moped type thing.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was a vehicle. And Michelangelo was heartbroken when he lost his Irish wolfhound. I can understand that.
Now, Irish wolfhounds, they're quite big dogs, aren't they?
Yes.
I mean, they're not like Jack Russells or anything. They're
I can't remember if they're bigger than deerhounds or smaller than deerhounds.
Right. Okay. I don't know.
They're big.
Big. Yeah.
I believe.
So that's you can not that you're not going to be any more affected if it's a small dog, of course.
No, losing a pet is always hard, and it shouldn't be easy. If it's easy, then you shouldn't have a pet.
Right. If you can remember where you put them, obviously it's much better.
Sorry?
I said if you can remember where you put them, losing a dog should be hard, but if you can remember where you put them, it's so much better. That's all I was saying.
Yes, fair enough.
So anyway, so go back to let's put the phone line back on the thing. See if that's. I don't know why that's not working. Oh yes, I do. It's because it's not on that one. There it is. Yeah, if anybody wants to give us a tinkle on 07934744679, then do so, because we're talking about our childhood memories. I've been making these videos. This is the second one, but I've made a little list. And it's funny how you get memory jogs. You think of one thing and you go, oh, yeah, and of course, then there was that. I hadn't thought about that for ages. And then other things jog your memories, things like smells.
Yes.
A smell. I remember, this isn't in my childhood, but when I left school, I worked at a printer's. And I used to operate the printers, and the ink, printer's ink, has a sort of very unique smell. It's different to any other kind of ink. And I had cause to go back a few years ago, and I was transported back to my earlier days. We've got a phone call. Hello to the caller calling in on the Vobes show.
Hi, Richard. It's Dawn here.
Hello, Dawn here. How are you?
Hi, Julia.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. We're enjoying all the walks that you're showing us.
Oh, marvellous.
Yeah,
Well,
it's brilliant.
that's what it's all about. I don't want. Go on.
I thought I'd share a little memory of when I was a girl.
Yeah, please do.
This is absolutely true. You're never going to believe this, but when I was about 11, we went into the secondary school, and we was asked to do an essay on our family life that evening, right?
Right.
So I sat down with my piece of paper, and I'm about to write, and I had to duck my head because a shoe lily hit my head. My mum was throwing her shoe at my dad, who were rowing as usual. So I wrote that down on a piece of paper.
Oh, did you?
Wow.
Just had a shoe lily hit my head. And then my older brother, was sitting there reading a newspaper. But I know he's got a mucky book behind there. And my two oldest sisters are squabbling over who's got the best shaped legs. And then...
And you wrote all this down?
I wrote all this down. Well, I was told to write what was going on in my household, you see.
Yeah.
And my two brothers were starting to fight over a toy car. So I wrote, I've had enough of this lot. I'm going up to bed.
How old were you? About 11?
I was about 11.
Right.
So I put in my essay like you do. And the next day the teacher said, Dawn Erdley, I want you to rewrite that. I want something that's true, not something that's made out of your head. So you can stay in and do another essay. So I had to make an essay, and I had to lie about it.
Oh my God.
Terrible.
But I mean, isn't that shameful that the teacher didn't say, Dawn, come here a minute. Is this what is this truly what's happening in your family? You've got this somewhat, what do they call it? Not disjointed. There's a word they say about. What do they say? Not dishevelled.
Dysfunctional.
Dysfunctional.
It's
Got this dysfunction. We better get the social services in and have you extracted out immediately.
Isn't that so?
No, but you don't know any different when you're living in a. I mean, when people have got lovely childhoods, it's nice to hear and everything.
Yes.
I didn't know any different.
No, I know you didn't know any different. But it's the teacher. The teacher didn't sort of pick up and think. Well, firstly, is this true? Dawn, is this true? And secondly, golly, if it is true, maybe we should be doing something. So, are you saying that you had a bit of an unhappy childhood?
Oh, well, if you want a horror story.
Because every time I've heard you, you're always laughing and smiling.
You've got such a jolly voice and such an amazing laugh. I love it.
I'm sorry about my laugh.
No, don't be sorry.
No. I just thought I'd ring up John. So go and ring up Richard and Julian, tell them about your story. Because the children all love to hear it. They think it's funny now,
Yeah, of course.
Thankfully. It's funny, you just can't make that stuff up, though, can you? And, real life stuff, that is.
But you see, in my time, many moons ago, you see children weren't listened to anyway.
No. Well, I barely listen to these days.
No, but they got more rights than they used to have.
Oh, yes, and they have Childline, of course. They can now divorce their parents, apparently.
That's right.
If they, I mean, it's all very well saying, this is what you can do. You can ring Childline, but you've got to have a certain amount of confidence and intelligence to even know that there's such a thing, remember the number, have access to a phone, and then be able to talk convincingly to somebody about something in a world when you're only 6 or 7, and not have any you've got no references to what other people's lives are like because you're only 7.
That's right. Yeah, you've got a good point there.
So, it is, it's very difficult. But obviously, I don't want to play, bring out the worst of it because children's memories are children's memories and it's nice to have the happy ones. But of course, people do gravitate to the horror stories because we find it, we're horrified for one thing, and we find it incredibly fascinating that people get through it.
Yeah. It's
So,
crazy.
I had
A lot of people.
Well, when
Sorry, go on.
I wouldn't speak. I didn't speak at all until I was about 10 and a half when I went to secondary school. They wanted to put me into a backward school. And I was bottom of the class at everything. I wouldn't do anything. But then we had this marvellous teacher. He was the most ugliest person I've ever seen in my life, but he had the most beautiful heart. And he took me to one side one day, and he told me what to do, and I followed his instructions, and in a year, I come fourth in the class.
Wow. And it's amazing, Dawn, because as we know, I'm sure the audience will appreciate this, you are one of the pioneering experts that told people how to split the atom. And it just goes to show, you can be at bottom of the class one day and blowing up parts of the world the next.
Days of Yore is asking, is this the hula dancer? I do believe it is, isn't it, Dawn?
Yeah, this is the hula dancer.
Yes. And Michael Angel says that he loves your laugh, Dawn.
Oh, bless. Yeah. So anyway, I thought about it'd be nice talking to you both. And Julie, you look as if you're a lovely mum. I love seeing your boys. They're so lovely.
Oh, thanks.
It's a hard, but it's worth it in the long run.
It is. I think so. It is hard work, but the kids are so rewarding.
Oh yeah, I've got my 3 boys coming on Sunday to see me.
Oh, that's nice. And
in the bubble.
in the bubble, yeah, that's right.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for giving us a call, Dawn.
Oh, it's lovely talking to you.
It's always lovely when you ring in.
Oh, well, we're always watching your show.
Oh, bless
you.
Oh, thank
Keep
you.
up the good work.
Yes, we will.
Okay, right.
Oh, and tomorrow we have a video where we both go out for a walk together.
Oh, brilliant!
First time in goodness knows how long. That's tomorrow's video, yeah. And little Joseph features.
Oh, that's lovely.
So,
and some bovines.
Yeah, we did meet some randy bulls. But anyway, there you go. I'll leave
Let's
that.
not get too excited.
Yeah. Well, we saw one try to mount another one, didn't we, Julia?
Yes.
And I was rather perturbed that he might try and mount me. Anyway.
I must say one thing, that you do coordinate very nicely today with your pink and your mauve. You look very nice.
Yes, I've got my pink is an issue with my camera, but it just seems to have colour coordinated today. But I need to sort this bloody camera out because it's probably on my lighting as well.
Oh, I like men in pink.
Do you? Hello, nice.
Oh, she likes men in pink. She do.
Yeah, I must get my green suit on again. Anyway, lovely to talk to you, Dawn.
Okay, bye to you both.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So there we are. What about that? Did you ever have to write essays about your home life, Julia?
No, I do remember I had to write I did have to write a particular essay that I remember distinctively because I wrote it about memories from Kuwait.
Ah. That must have been, in those days, well, it's not that long ago, of course.
No, not that long.
No, not that long. I was just thinking, because in my day, if people had travelled somewhere, that would have been, you'd been ever so posh if you'd been travelling somewhere and lived in another country, especially a hot country. It would be like, oh my goodness, it's one thing coming from, say, the Isle of Wight or somewhere like that. It's like, oh, that's exotic. But Saudi Arabia, if you said that, it would be like, oh my God, that's, where is that? It's another planet, isn't it?
Practically.
Yeah.
Might as well be Mars.
Nice to see floating our boat out there who said that Rich was also a lithographic printer back in the day. Yes, so he'll remember the smell of printing ink. And we've spoken, I think, to Adrian, who remembers Turbo Stream, remembers MEK, which is a chemical we used to use to clean the rollers of the old Multilith 1250 that I used to be in charge of for ages and ages. Inking it up and cleaning it down, and inking it up and cleaning it down, and making the plates and inking it up and cleaning it down day after day, loading it with paper.
I'm not sure what your printing inks smelled like, but the stuff I used in art college had a very distinct smell as well.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and because as soon as it's that unique smell that once you've smelt something again, it's a money. That unlocks that memory, and it really helps to transport you right back there. We're going to transport people to somewhere else now because we're going to shove in another video because that's what we do on this show. Gives ourselves a few moments of break. and we'll study the comments. Thank you very much for making all the comments. They are what makes this show, even if we don't manage to read them all out, of course. But we do take note of them. So I just nip back. I've got to just say arrivederci to Julia for one moment. So ta-ta to you. Go back there. And it gives me a chance to take the headphones off because they get a bit hot on my ears, you know. And nip into the video box. So we've got Peter Lowry, who's got another of his books, absolutely fascinating books, and Julia's going to be very interested when we see that one because there's something that will be perfect for little Joseph. But before that, we're going to go to Barry and Faden, and they're out gallivanting about somewhere near the Thames, and they start up by this rather magnificent bridge.
Today we are at Wallingford, Oxfordshire, by the River Thames.
Yep, we're heading towards a ruined castle, which we're going to try and find. We're right next to the River Thames, as Faden says. There's a bridge right here that goes over it. Quite an old bridge by the looks of it. Here we are on the bridge. Just an interesting bit of information I found out. Wallingford used to be Berkshire, but changed to Oxfordshire as recently as 1974, when I was born. At the castle. There's not much of the ruins left, but we didn't think there would be. An interesting story. There was when King Edward II was here, he had a relationship with another man, or supposedly. It's what modern historians say, but I don't always believe modern historians. And homosexuality was obviously a crime in them days, and both of them ultimately lost their lives because of it. The king was actually killed with a hot poker, which isn't very nice. You got like what looked like was a moat or ramparts around the castle, so we'll take you around. Interesting parts of the building there, ruined a little bit by the fencing they put there. Show you these window frames. And a doorway.
castle was built in 1067 to 1069. Wallingford would have been a very prosperous town by the Thames, even having its own mint. Now we're in about the centre of the castle, probably one of the most prominent castles in the country at the time. Here we are in what's called the Castle Meadow. You can see the moat there. The tower, main tower, would have been there, and there would have been a wall surrounding all of this, and there's still wall fragments left. The castle was destroyed in about 1652 after the English Civil War.
There we are, the wonderful Faden and Barry. And I gather Barry has just got back in. He started off the show watching... Where did you say you were watching, Barry? You started off the show in an amphitheatre. And then you've obviously hot-footed by personal jet back to your house, which is lovely. Yeah, interesting place that. And no one wants a red-hot poker shoved up the... Oh, I say, steady on, mate. That could have hurt. Let's catch up with the lovely Julia. Make sure that she is still there and all present and correct. Yeah, there she is. Hello, love. Oh, I've got to put these on.
Still here.
So there we are. Oh, hello. Straight away, we've got a phone call. Let's find out who that is. Hello.
Who this could be? John Berger, by chance?
Is it John Berger?
It should be.
Hello.
Any luck?
Hello to the caller calling in on the show. The silent caller.
We're getting silent treatment now.
We're getting... Hello. Hello? California? Are you receiving? Oh, it's gone.
Hello?
Try it again.
Is it Vobes you're looking for?
Do call again. If that was John Berger, do call again. I did answer it, but it just sort of... Here we go. Hello?
Can you hear me this time, sir?
That's right, sir. Yes, I can hear you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Hello. I don't know what happened the last time. It's lovely to hear from you, Monsieur Le Berg.
Yes, it's lovely to hear from you too.
Now, I gather you want to talk to the lovely Julia, but unfortunately, we've just lost the line to Julia, which is a bit of a shame.
Of course.
No, here she is.
Don't get rid of me that easily. Or do you?
So, say one of you say hello to each other.
Hello, John.
Hello. Hello, Julia. Hello, lovely Julia. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you, lovely John?
Oh, I don't know about lovely. You haven't seen me in real life, I guess.
No, that's very true.
But,
I can vouch for that. But that's 10 years ago. Over 10. How long is it now? 2006?
We were over here in 2007.
Oh, 2007. Oh, yeah. So 13 years ago.
So I just watched part 2 again the other day. So that was cool.
That was when John was looking very svelte.
I think he looks very svelte these days. I saw him recently.
I know that he likes sausages with maple syrup in.
Wow. That sounds tasty.
You had your share of those too, as well as those large...
That was the only time! The only time I've ever had sausages with syrup in! And do you know what? Never again. Never again. The lovely thing that you did select for us when we came was that gorgeous wine.
Oh, yes.
I can't remember what it was, strawberry or something like that.
It was a blackberry merlot.
Oh, a blackberry merlot. That's right. It was delicious. I don't really drink much wine these days, but it was. I do remember that zonking us out after our long days of going around America. Were you there when we were in? No, you weren't there when we were in Chicago, and the policeman had a gun on his belt. I know they all do. And, of course, talking about police at the moment is a dodgy old thing. But there was some parade going on. Was that that was in Chicago? Was that in Chicago? And I just was up there with my microphone, and I went up to the policeman, and I just said, "Oh, can you tell me what's going on?" And I can't remember what he said. I wish I could remember now. But he was so rude to me.
I'm glad he didn't answer you with his gun.
No. We had that in Texas where they pulled their guns on us when we were in Texas. But that was because we'd driven up a slip road onto a motorway, which was the actual motorway slip road coming off. We'd driven on the...
Oops.
Yeah, and from nowhere, these two Texans came out, flagged us down, came out with their guns, ever so proud, and it was like, open a window, sonny. And we opened the window, and there we went, I'm ever so sorry, officer. And their faces, they suddenly were going, oh, I see, we've got a couple of limeys here. And they were saying, right, can we see your ID, and can we do this, and can we do that, and all that. And all the time we were just aware of these guns. We were peering out the window at... these guns were at their hip height, which was our head height, and we're going, "Oh my God, we're going to be shot any second now." But the thing was, I said, "I'm ever so sorry. It's probably my fault because I was navigating, and we're trying to get to the airport because we're on our way back to England." And then they changed. The whole attitude changed. They said, "Oh well, that's fine. We're not going to bother with anything else. Then you just go this way, get onto the aeroplane, go back to your country, and stay there." Effectively, that's what they said. They were pleased because they didn't have to do the paperwork because they could just be shot of us. But it wasn't my name and address they took. It was my cohort at the time whose name and address they wrote down because he was driving at that point.
So tell me, John, how goes your 3D printing press factory?
Oh, well, it's now it's all done.
All done and dusted.
For anyone it's done. Even the people who made those visors available, they sent out an email the other day saying, "Yeah, we're done," because there's no demand. The commercial grade face masks have finally gotten to the point where there's no longer a need for us makers to do it. So all of my printers are idle right now, but all things considered, I got over 1,000 of those things done on my own.
Oh my
something
gosh,
to be proud
that's
of.
impressive.
Well, just for those that are ignorant and don't follow the people who follow him, for the people like me who are blind in one eye and don't look on social media, what the hell are you talking about?
When this whole COVID thing started to hit over here really hard,
yes,
and our medical people didn't have the necessary protective equipment,
right,
a bunch of us went into full gear, and in this case, there was a couple from New York who released a full face mask, a shield rather. So you have the headpiece, then you've got a clear plastic shield that covers their face. And they put the plans out for that, which actually were approved by the National Institution of Health, or National Institutes of Health. And so a bunch of us said, hey, here's the pattern, here's what you need to do. And so a lot of us took that and said, fine, we will 3D print all the necessary stuff. And it's a complete kit because we print off the headpieces, we put foam on them, like a foam rubber strip for comfort, elastic band to hold it on, and then include a clear plastic shield that we then bag up each one individually and send them off to whoever needs them. So if a frontline worker needs a face shield, they open up a bag, they assemble it, they put it on, and they've got facial protection. So, but they've made these plans available and included instructions on how to assemble it and how to prepare the clear plastic shield. And so I got donations from friends and family to help with the raw materials and so forth. And now by the time they said, all right, we're done, and there's basically no demand for makers to do this anymore, I was able to get exactly 10,010 of them printed, assembled, and mailed out.
Wow.
Wow. Well, that's a hell of a lot. I've got mine. Mine arrived in the post actually only the other day that you sent me. I've got it on now. It's very good. I've been going around the town in this to Morrison's,
not the other way around.
to the bank, all sorts of places. Get on the buses now. It's much appreciated by everybody. They really look at me and appreciate.
Isn't that one a mesh one?
Sorry, I cannot hear a bloody thing. Because it's...
That's everything, right, doesn't it? Quick, talk about them now. No,
yeah, they've got my headphones back on. I don't know whether you saw...
Children, fight nice.
Just, yeah.
Wasn't that front made of mesh, though, Richard?
Yeah, that's how it lets the COVID in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want... the thing about these plastic things, if you've got a bit of COVID and you sneeze, it's going to go... all on the screen, and all those horrible bugs and germs are going to be like looking at you going, oh, we've got to get back, and get back in.
Yeah, that's when you get your anti-bac wipe and smear it off.
So it's similar to that? Is that the sort of thing you're talking about, but with a clear screen?
Yes, pretty much.
Wow. So what are you going to do now? You've invested in all this machinery. Nobody wants them anymore, and you've got 25 million of these things lying about that have no other use. What are you going to do?
No, I printed as needed, so I don't have any more of those masks laying around.
Oh, right.
I do have the printers, though.
Yeah.
And so me doing all of my other 3D printing stuff, they'll come to use one way or another.
Oh, okay. What do you do? What else do you print with your 3D printing stuff?
Oh, I do a lot of, there's a video game out there called Warframe, which I'm addicted to, and I have been designing and building a lot of their prop weapons.
Oh, I see. Oh, right. Oh, okay. That sounds like fun. So
I've seen some of them crop up on Facebook as well. That looks cool.
I don't really do
fun stuff.
Those things. But so what about your
We know you're on Facebook every day using a different account, trolling everybody when you can. We know this.
Yes, of course. That's exactly that's
Don't
me.
let out all his secrets, John.
I have about 30 of them actually, and they're all run by
I
bots.
didn't say which account is his, though.
No.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm the one that lives under the bridge. I'm the little ugly fella that lives under the bridge when the billy goats gruff go across. There's a name for me, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. Anyway, I was going to ask, what's your childhood memories?
My childhood memories?
Well, I thought that was what you were ringing for, because that's the theme of the show.
I was calling because it was an opportunity to talk to you and Julia.
Oh, lovely.
Childhood memories.
You've had them erased, haven't you? You've had them erased because you've been watching all these video games.
It's been so horrific. Actually, my childhood is probably mostly video games.
Yeah, there you go. You're the man who hasn't grown up.
I will not grow up until even to the end. I will be a man-child, and I like it.
So what's your first video gaming memory then? Because I'm assuming it's from childhood.
The problem is that dates back to when the original Atari 2600 was new.
Are we talking?
So we're talking like late 70s, early 80s.
Boop. Are we talking that game where you had the two things either side like this and a little square, I don't know what you would call it, pixel, going beep?
The original Pong.
Boop.
Yep. Yeah, I'm that old. Yeah.
Well, by the mid to late 80s, I had inherited, an Atari. I can't remember what number it was, but I had an Atari. I had Pitman, I had River Raider, I had Galaxian, and Frogger. Had all these cool games. And Pitman. Did I say Pitman?
You said Pitman.
Anyway. Yeah.
And I think you had Pitman as well, which was the shorthand version.
Yeah, and I had... Yeah, no, I can't picture that any other ways.
Not many people would get that joke. There we are. Was it Pitman? Pitman shorthand? Sure it was. Anyway, doesn't matter.
No, I'm not getting it.
Whatever works.
Whatever works. Yeah, the old-fashioned... You remember shorthand,
Whatever floats your boat.
You just have one of those... I don't know why I keep doing it, but it's enjoyable. Like most things that you do, that you keep doing. Anyway, and then you have a pencil.
Wind the bobbin up. Wind the bobbin up. Pull,
yeah.
pull.
The wheels on
Clap,
the bus.
clap, clap.
Oh, my goodness. There we are. What were you doing, John, was fantastic and vital, even though nobody ever wanted it. That was Kevin Ramble said that.
Yeah, I understand that. Nobody wants it now, but you'd swear it was differently with the way we're opening back up again. After all, those masks violate my freedom. Oh, shut up.
Well, of course, if you've got all that plastic, if you've got all that printing stuff, it'd be great. This is what they need people like you. Because one minute, there's a statue on Times Square or somewhere, and somebody topples it down, you go straight in there. Bing. There's another one up there. They pull that down. Ding. Who would you like? Ding. You could have a different statue of somebody different every single day. You could just be printing them out.
I mean, yes, that's true. I could. And with what I'm learning about, it's smaller electronics and so forth, I could also trigger something that when it detects that it's toppled over, it could say something like, "Put me back up there!"
How dare you!
Just to freak them out.
Absolutely.
How dare you, sir!
But of course, I suppose statues of the future, and I didn't really want to get into politics, and I'm not getting into the causes of it all, but because the way to combat anybody pulling down a statue would be to have a hologram statue. If you've got some sort of hologram, they've got nothing to grab on, and it's just there.
Yeah, but the mechanism that would produce that would be damaged. They would do something. There's always a way of something getting vandalised. Yeah. You must know that by now.
No, I didn't know that. I had no idea. I had no idea that when I threw crayons and paint at things that was offensive. I had no idea. Anyway,
Richard thought that holographic emitters were indestructible.
I thought it was fairly indestructible. But then I thought you couldn't scratch CDs. Where we were told on Tomorrow's World, when the CD was first, came out. When I was watching Tomorrow's, it was a program that we used to tell you things that are coming in the future. And I was sitting there in 1932 watching HD television that they said that was going to be coming. I had no idea what 1932 this was, before they'd fully got the black and white cathode ray. Yeah, they were demonstrating on a black and white cathode ray tube this HD TV, and the bloke was on it called Michael Rodd, and he said, these CDs, these mystical magical discs are going to come. And you can put them in a CD thing and you can spread jam on them and it won't affect the music. And all I kept, when I first saw a CD, I thought it was one of those things that doctors had. You know, doctors, you always see doctors have a light on their head strapped to them. I thought it was one of those that they'd pulled off. And I thought, that's amazing. You can get a doctor's lamp and you can play music from it. I know, people, but that's a childhood memory, you see. That is a childhood memory. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Anyway, I better go and play another video.
Sounds good.
Yeah, looking forward to when you send us a video, John.
I've actually been trying to figure out where and how.
Well, there's this thing called the internet, and if you can do it digitally, you can send it by WeTransfer. Yeah, I know, just send it by digital. You haven't got to post anything.
How did I not know about this all this time?
I expect you've got reels and reels of Kodak film, haven't you?
I thought you were a techie, John, hey?
Yeah, we thought you were a techie. It's because you live down in that cellar with Eric.
That's Eric's down below the substrate, actually.
Oh, is he? He's down below the sewers, he is. Aren't you, Eric? Oh.
Yes, I am, sir.
That's right, sir.
I hear what you're saying about me, sir.
There we are.
That's not nice, sir.
Oh, I think you do it even better than both of us.
Anyway, better go and play a video. But yeah, we look forward to one that you do, even if it's you just I don't know, pontificating about something.
Well, show us your 3D printers or something.
Yeah, show us your 3D printer.
Yeah,
show us your printer, mate. Go on.
Show us your printers, yeah. Oh.
Right, this is where I stick the filament in, right?
Oh, lovely. Everyone loves it when you stick the filament in. Dear, oh dear. Anyway, I don't know enough about 3D printers to be able to put in a innuendo.
Yeah.
Because I don't know none of the terms. Now you've told me about filament. I always think of that as a gas lamp. When I used to go caravanning in the old days, you'd have a filament that would, in the gas, to light it, and then people died. Anyway,
innuendos about it, but I do love the fact that your 3D printers, if anything goes wrong with them, you can just, with one of them, you can
print another one with the other one.
No, you can print spare parts for them.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Genius.
I could and I have.
That's it.
Yes, I know. It was fascinating watching your escapades with all the issues with them.
Oh, I love watching that. Where was it again, Julia? Is it on social media?
It's on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what that is.
Anyway, well done for that, John.
Lovely to talk to you, John.
Good to talk to you, and good to finally talk to you, Julia.
Yes, that's all right.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
It's been my pleasure.
Shut up, you.
We love you, John. We love you.
Well, I knew that.
Anyway, we better go. It's getting a bit self-indulgent now. Nice to talk to you.
It's fun.
And it is fun.
Nice to talk to you too as well.
Take care. Look after yourself.
Have a good weekend.
I will do my utmost.
Right.
And you, John.
All
Take
right.
care. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
You too, Julia. Bye.
There was a lovely John Berger talking all the way from where he lives. In America. Oh, I've taken this off because I've got to keep those because otherwise I can't.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Right, we are going to go and play another video. I'm going to give Julia the lovely choice here. Hang on, let's come out of this and press
Lovely
this.
choice.
Yeah, well, why not? Hang on. Got
Why
the... I need to... Well... I can't see... Hang on, I can't... Okay, does that out? Yeah, no, that's okay. So we've had Mary. We've got Peter, we've got Dave Ford, and we've got a moment of Murphy.
Oh, well, I'm really curious now about what book Peter's got. So can we have Peter next, please?
We can have Peter next. Yes. Okay. Marvellous. I've got to say cheerio to you for a moment then, lovely Julia, whilst you get yourself all glammed up for watching the lovely Peter. So there we go. And that means I can take my headphones off for a moment. Lots of comments there. Jeff Kellison says, I will readily admit, though, it's my firm belief that you guys eat a lot healthier over there. We do. We do eat a lot healthier compared to the lovely food that Jeff Kellison occasionally sends me pictures of. And I'm sort of, throw my hands up in horror. The way to stop someone pulling down a statue is to shoot them, says Sir Michelangelo. Well, that is one way of dealing with it. I remember them spreading jam on CDs, says Andrew Norris. Yes. And you can't do that with vinyls very easily. I'd like to see you put the stylus on the needle. Anyway, let us find out what Peter is up to. I'm hoping that this is going to work. See what Peter is up to. Well, he's got another new book. Peter Lowry, ladies and gentlemen. I thought that might happen. I might have to go back into the videos. I need to turn that noise down, don't I? Because that comes out really loud. Hang on, I'm going to turn that bit down a bit. Where are you, Peter? Where have your videos gone? There it is. Peter's got this amazing book with some fantastic... Now, Julia needs to concentrate because there is the answer to all of Joseph's problems.
Hello, everyone. I've got this old children's annual here. It hasn't got a year in it, but it's quite old. But it's got a lot of old, interesting adverts in it. On the back cover, it's got green sponge mixture for making cakes. Here's a picture. And inside, we've got Pritchard's teething powders. I take it that's for children, is it? Bermeline bread, which I've never heard of before. And Dr. J. Collis Brown's Chlorodyne, best remedy known for coughs, colds, influenza, bronchitis, toothache, just about everything, I think, diarrhea. Give your children Perry's powders, Rowland's hair oil for ladies and children, Noah's Ark biscuits, and 5 jolly little books for little girls, cookery book, sewing book, fancy work, bird book, knitting book. An advertisement give to the children's national homes, Chivers jellies, which I think are still around today, and Harrington Squares, whatever they were, and the Boys' Own Paper, 1 shilling monthly. And towards the front of the book, there's some more. Wright's coal tar soap, which is I've still got some of that now. Fenning's children's powders for easy teething. And here, no more castor oil, castles. Have some of that, and you won't need castor oil, evidently. There again, I think this is toothpaste. Gibbs dentifrice, which I take it is toothpaste. And this here was our viral baby once. I don't really know what that's getting at. What's that? And it's advertising something, but I don't know what. Here we've got Hovis. And here, if you want this, give to the Cripples and Poor Children's Home at Westcliff-on-Sea. And here's, what's this, chill proof for children. That's an extra warm vest and all sorts of clothing. And here, I think this is the last advert in the book. It's Dunkley's Limited, Jamaica Row, Birmingham. You can get anything from a pram and anything you want for for a baby. There's also some stories of the time, some good old stories and all sorts of things in the book. It hasn't got a year on it, but I would say it's, at a guess, probably 1940s, late 40s at a guess. Anyway, there it is, The Child's Companion. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.
Oh, bless. Oh, that's so good. And, of course, the all-cure there for COVID, wasn't it? Somebody said Covidine. I think Michael Angel said that, Covidine. Chloridine, says Audrey, also cures COVID. I believe it does. I think the President of the United States has been taking that as well. That's what makes you orange. Anyway, and, of course, those advertisements for teething powders, which is what I was thinking. Let's just see that the lovely Julia is still back over there. Thank you, Peter, so much for that. That was absolutely brilliant. Let's go back to how do we do that? I've forgotten what we do now. Oh yeah, no, that's me. That's you. Wait, there we go. There we are. Hello, lovely Julia.
Richard, one of you, one of me. I believe it's Vobes o'clock still.
Tis Vobes o'clock. And look, which one of those is it?
This is Emerald.
Oh, hello, Emerald. How are you?
Oh, hello.
Are you? It's very nice.
She says, prr, prr, prr. I wonder if you can hear.
Oh, yeah.
She's a very quiet parrot, this one.
She sounds a bit like a seagull, though. That's the only thing I'd worry about, that cat of yours. Or,
yeah, they got 3 chicks up on the roof.
Oh, what, the cat?
The gulls, that
Oh, I
is.
see. That was lovely, Peter. Thank you so much. Do some more, because I find those advertisements, although the policeman there was a bit of a worry, wasn't it? If my kid was with a policeman that size, I would be slightly worried. He obviously doesn't get a lot of exercise. But that was absolutely fascinating.
Can you remember what the brand was on those teething powders?
The one was Fennels.
Fennels, yeah.
Fennings.
We now
Fennings.
have Ashton and Parsons teething powders.
Oh, so do babies still have teething powders?
Yeah, there's still such a thing as teething powders.
What do you do?
Tincture of, I'm not sure I can say this, matricaria? Whatever that is.
So, matricaria, did you say? Something to do with the patriarchy, I think. What do you do with the powder? Is it like snuff? But do you put it on the teeth themselves, on the gums? Do you rub it on the gums?
Obviously, you open the packet and then you get half of it into your hand. Yeah. And just basically.
Oh, you do that?
What in the baby's mouth?
Is it sherbet, really? Is that what it is? Just a nice bit of sherbet takes their attention and go, oh, it's nice.
Yeah. It's supposed to soothe the gums and things like that. But I remember with my first child, that'd be 9 years ago now, Elijah, I really, really, really struggled with the idea of putting powder directly in the baby's mouth, because powder in the mouth is difficult, isn't it? It's like it gets airborne and it gets in your throat. If you breathe through your mouth while you've got it there, I always used to worry about that with him. But then I realised actually you can just dab and.
Is it crystallized?
No,
or is it like talcum powder?
It's kind of both a crystallized.
Is it Vim? Is it Vim? What we used to call Vim, scouring powder. Is that what it is?
I don't know if you can see that. It's very fine powder.
Yeah. Gosh, that's interesting. I can't remember what we did with my kids. I think we used a mallet and a chisel. That seemed to keep them quiet. Thank you, says TurboStream. Peter, we love your Brummie accent and your cheeky way with your books. That was absolutely fantastic.
And I love the way you say biscuits.
Did you say biscuits?
Biscuits.
Chivers jellies, says Stephen Ruff. He says, I used to eat those. Fantastic. I wonder how many of those things. Joe's mint balls, says Mike Stevens. I'm a bit dubious about those. But you never know. It might have been good. Another fantastic book. I noticed that it said on there, when you opened it up, saying there's lots of different stories and things. It said flowers for spring. It'd be interested to know, if that back in the 50s, what flowers were then and what we still have, of course. But it's fascinating how all those adverts, and it's for kids.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they put adverts in kids' things. It's not like kids have got the purse strings.
No.
Because I can't imagine a child going,
Mummy, I want some teething powder. I must have some teething powder. Please, Mummy, please.
pester power. Hardly going to work, is it?
No, not really. But it definitely works in this day and age. That if they happen to be watching any children's channels, and then
Yes.
these adverts come up. And,
Yeah, well, that shouldn't be allowed. You should. I mean, I know they've got to earn some money somehow, but they shouldn't be advertising. So, I mean, we used to see that at Christmas time. They'd come with all these bloody adverts for these naff things, these horrible, cheap and cheerful plastic naff things that would last. And when I say plastic, I mean, thin as, and it had the games that these kids are given now. They give these amazing videos or films with special effects and music that makes it sound like something really exciting, and then when you open the box you get this thing out and it's just this one thing that does it might just fire a ping pong ball. That's it. Bing. It's like, yeah, really, is that it? We're not in the 1940s now where firing a ping pong ball with a spring and a whatever is a wow, look at that. Mine, I could do that all day. Now it's like, mine, okay, I'm bored.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have a screen. Yeah, it hasn't got a tab on it. Hasn't got it's not connected to the internet. Doesn't make. I can't download the latest thing from Dula Looper or any of those things on it, which obviously makes it.
Glastonbury Gabriel says the adverts for the parents whilst reading the book to their child.
Oh yes, of course. Buy yourself a nice new rubber hose.
Mike Stevens is asking, can Joseph walk yet? No, not.
He's
quite.
not allowed, is he? You won't let him. Can he? It's may he walk?
No, he
nearly though.
Yes, he's very nearly there. He lets go of whatever he's holding on to, and he stood up now.
He
for a few
sofa
seconds
surfs,
longer
doesn't he?
each time.
He can
he
sofa
furniture
surf.
surfs and things like that.
And he's not bad on the sea either. On a surfboard, he's quite good on one of those.
Yeah, but he's very close to walking. Oh.
But he prefers to take the bus. But there we are. That's a lot of kids for you. But and of course you put him in one of these helmets, don't you? When he gets on the bus, he's got his whole gear like that. Bless his little socks.
You're joking about that, but you can get these little soft helmets that you can get for them. I've been so tempted with Joseph. He's I know they go through this, when they're learning to
I'm sure if you wrote to the War Office, they'd have some of the old gas masks left over from the Second World War that they used to put babies in when they feared that we were all going to be gassed. They were Mickey Mouse shaped. That would be the thing to prevent them from getting any sort of COVID or anything.
Yes, that would. Yeah,
pretty ugly.
That's a funny issue actually you raised, because my friend needed to get herself from one place to another, and of course she had no option. She's got no car. She doesn't drive. She had no option but to take the bus. But she was like, "What do I do? Because there's no way I can, I can put a mask on my kids, especially the youngest two, but they're not going to stay there."
No.
So what can I do?
Well, obviously you have to sedate your children. Sedate them and carry them on asleep with their heads in a plastic bag. Won't go down well on social media, but that's what you have to do. We better play another video because time is ticking, and we've got 2 more videos to crack through, if that's all right. Yes. So let us go. It's eeny meeny time. Murphy or Dave?
Oh, let's save Murphy for last.
Okay. Sorry about that, Andy. We're saving you to the end, but we've got an interest. You'll like this one, Julia. It's because this is got something to do with something that grows out of the ground. This is the lovely Dave Ford down on the New Forest. Now, if I press this button, I'm wondering if it will just... Oh, it won't work because I've got to get back into this thing again. Oh, yeah, sorry about this. Hold on. Say cheerio to lovely Julia. Now, if I press this, will it work? No. Every time I have to do... Why? I hope that was a bit quieter, so it wasn't quite as... should have been a bit quieter. Anyway, right, here we go. Lovely Dave Ford, and he's got the eagle tree.
Hello, Richard. Hello, everybody. Dave here, out in the New Forest, and I really am deep in a forest today. I've been trying to find one of the celebrity trees in the oldest. It's not the oldest, it's not the biggest, it's not the tallest, but it's got a little bit of history attached to it. It's called the Eagle Oak, and she's just right by me here. If I turn around carefully, she's very difficult to find. There are no signs or plaques or anything, and there are a couple of yew trees alongside, so from the bottom it looks like foliage from a yew tree. But now there's a story attached to her. Why is she called the Eagle Oak? Well, the last recorded sea eagle in the New Forest died here. It was shot by a New Forest keeper in the early 1800s. Although having said that, a couple of years ago the authorities did try and or they have started to try and reintroduce sea eagles into the area. I think they released 6 on the Isle of Wight, and the idea is to gradually bring them back. Although I was reading an article, obviously they tag those birds. They're huge, wingspan of 3 meters and about 1 meter high. I say they tag them and follow them, and a couple of them has gone as far as the North York moors. So what the Yorkshire sheep farmers think about the birds of prey that size up there, I don't know, with their lambs. But anyway, that's another story. There we go. That is the Eagle Oak. I found her in the end. Back to you in the studio.
There we are, the eagle tree. It's amazing how far the tree will fly in a year, how they've managed to tag them. And it oh no, sorry, it was the eagles that do that. It certainly looked like a yew tree, but of course it was an oak tree. You could tell that from the bark. And thank you very much, Dave. That was fascinating. There you go. See if you can find the eagle tree. It's a shame it wasn't actually labelled out there. I'm just trying to work out which one the lovely Julia is and bring her back in onto the old Skype machine. There it is. Lovely. I thought you'd like that with the old trees.
Yes, really did. Andrew Norris says, I'm so glad there is no signage to direct people to that beautiful tree. Such visions should be alighted upon by chance. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, so as long as as long as you know it's there, because you might just walk past and it may just be of no significance. I guess it's, in that particular area, it didn't look like there were many other oak trees, but if there was umpteen dozen of them, you wouldn't know which one it was.
Well, to any tree lover, that tree is going to be significant just by looking at it.
Yeah, that's true. Especially as it's amongst pines and things.
Yeah. But, happening upon it by chance, you're not going to know that history, that, that's the last place a sea eagle died or anything.
No. And if you see an eagle dying, then you need to ring up the RSPCB. No, that was a seal dying, wasn't it?
So I had something stuck in my throat there. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's quite all right. It happens a lot. So, of course, you can find out a lot more interesting facts and figures and things like that about the New Forest, which obviously isn't that new because it was the New Forest back in the blooming Normans time.
Old Forest.
Yeah, by watching Dave Ford's wonderful videos. He's been doing them quite prolifically recently, so check them out at Dave Ford and the New Forest Walks. I think that's what it is. Anyway, that's that one. Thank you, Dave. It's very kind of you to send that in. We just have Andrew Norris. We are fast approaching the end of the show, so we better go swiftly and show that one, if that's all right.
Norris or Murphy?
Did I say Norris? I meant Murphy.
That's what I thought you meant.
Yeah, Andrew Norris is suddenly going, what? But I haven't sent a video in.
You were just testing me, weren't you?
Yes, it's because there's the Andrew Norris moment, and then there's a moment of Murphy. You see, it's all very confusing. When I came up with these concepts, and these people just suddenly puffed into existence, I hadn't really given it a huge amount of thought. I was sort of godlike then, Anyway.
No comment.
Right, what do I do again? I guess I've got to go round the houses one more time. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Round the houses we shall go. So this is a moment of Murphy, which we shall get there in this way. And here he is, and he is out and about on Harting Heath, I think it is, Andrew Murphy. Harting Down, that's the place.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another Moment of Murphy with me, Andrew Murphy. Today it is Saturday the 13th of June 2020 and I thought I'd come out and have a walk over Harting Down in West Sussex. Let's go. The bottom of this tree looks like it's got green pom-poms on it. How sweet. I've now just come out of the woods behind me, behind this tree here, and I've come right down to the bottom in this valley, and I've come over and look what I found. Try not to slip over. I found a rather depleted looking dew pond. On the side of the track. Near enough at the end of my walk. Behind me is a lovely view of Blackdown and Bexley Hill. I'm just about to head back towards the car. It's just about starting to rain now. I would just like to thank you for your company and until next time, bye for now.
And there he is, Andy Murphy, out about on the downs looking at the beauty spots. And stop looking at my beauty spot. There it is. Bingo. Off it goes. How interesting is that? How lovely. Let's just get the lovely Julia back on board. Hello, Julia.
Hello, Richard.
Hello there, nice to see you. Yeah, fantastic. It's interesting that Barry, just before that, said that pine trees aren't given as much recognition as they should do because he actually adores them. I have to say, they are my least favourite tree, pine trees.
Yeah, I have to admit that I kind of agree with you there.
I think they're because they're so repetitive and boring. They're nice. They've got a nice.
They're nice in their own right.
Yeah,
but,
a Christmas pine.
Nothing beats a broadleaf in my book.
Exactly. I do like the broadleaf.
Except maybe a yew tree.
Well, the yew trees are nice, but I think, with a broadleaf, especially a native one, when they go through the autumn and all the different autumn colours and the leaves fall off and then you see them, the oaks that begin to open like hands like that. Hands that do dishes and throttle your missus. Mild green. Anyway, so...
all the different patterns, all the different leaves.
Yeah,
It's just fantastic.
Whereas I just find the pines, they're upright. Nothing grows underneath them. That's the other thing. Hey!
Sorry, the cat. Oi, stop it.
I'm sorry.
Eric. I mean, Emerald.
Stop it. Leave me alone. The cat liver tray. What? That for me. I mean, nothing grows. If you see a pine, a pine plantation, there's usually nothing underneath it. There might be at the beginning of the season some bracken or something, but generally it's just barren under there because there's no light. Tall 80-foot trees. Personally speaking,
Barry Stevens says it's the smell, though. I agree. The smell is fantastic.
Yeah, they do have a nice woof.
And he also asks, wouldn't I hug a pine tree? Yes, of course I'd hug a pine tree.
Well, they're pining for you to do it.
Oh, but it's not very high up on my favourite trees, though. And let's face it, I have a fair few favourite trees.
Yeah, I'm very much into the broadleafs, and of course, the more they are native, I guess that's because I'm a traditionalist and all of that. Then they're nice. One of my favourite trees is, of course, the lime tree, with the pubic hairs that bunch out at the bottom.
The linden lime, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
And the large leaf one was one of the trees. There was about 4 or 5, very few trees that back in before the Neolithic people came was one that was incredibly prolific everywhere. The large leaf, and now they're very rare to see them. Very rare. You see a lot of the smaller leaf ones, and they're used in towns as avenue trees.
Yeah, that's right.
And that sort of thing. But the native large leafed lime was everywhere, and that's on the continent as well, because when the continents were all joined together, they didn't have any vowels. Anyway, we're running out. Sorry, go on. Sorry. No, you speak.
Mike Stevens says pine is very practical and fast growing.
Yes.
Barry Stevens says pine tree lives matter. Oh gosh, don't start me on that. I've had a nightmare about this whole thing with on adminning various groups today. So Andrew Norris says cypress trees smell the best, and that brings me to a memory. It's odd. It's not the best smelling tree, but oh crikey, what tree was it? We smelt them yesterday when we went for that walk. Oh, what was it?
Oh, what? Elders?
No. Was it a poplar?
Where did we go? Oh, up on the downs.
Yeah.
And we were smelling the trees.
Yeah, there was a particular tree we could smell, and but the memory of it took me right back. I don't know if you remember, but I said it. The memory took me right back to being at school, at junior school in Locks Heath, in Hampshire, because there was a stand of them there. Yeah, lovely. As gorse do as well, actually. The firs, the spiky
gorse
downland plants with the yellow flower. That they remind me of school as well. There you were.
Yeah, no. I was just trying to remember what you said.
I think they were poplars.
Yeah. Can't remember. Anyway, but it's interesting. Pine trees for me. I mean, they're very practical. And what I was going to say, of course, the Forestry Commission planted a load at the beginning of just before and after the First World War because they were desperately needing wood because overseas they were making so many things that they need to erect. Like in the trenches, you needed wood to sort of stop the trenches falling in. We were desperate for wood and we planted all these pine trees, of which we're now blighted. They got rid of native trees. This is according to, what's his name, Oliver Rackham, who was leading authority on this sort of thing. And they got rid of many of the native forests and replanted them with these quick-growing pine trees because they needed the wood. And, needs must as the devil drives and all of that. But now we're stuck with them. And then the Forestry Commission have since said, basically we have been blighted. At first they thought that was a prudent thing to do because they grew so quickly. But now the diversity of the woodlands are hampered by that because it doesn't just affect the trees, it's the undergrowth and all those wonderful plants, the bluebells.
So the ecology is completely out of whack.
Absolutely. So now, and from what I understand, the commission is trying to get to the point where they can take out the just basically reverse the situation.
The beloved but not in the right place pines.
Yeah. And I mean it's and that's the truth.
Yeah.
Just outside Paddington Station, the Great Royal Oak, which is always worth because you can get to the bar really quickly and you can have a good pint in there. Lombard poplar, of course, the Lombard poplar, they're very narrow, aren't they? And they use those in avenues. You often see those, one after the other like that. They're quite nice.
Exactly. There was a line of them in the middle of my school field. I'm pretty sure it was them. There's a certain smell to them.
I love the Joshua trees from American deserts. They happily grow where nothing else will. I believe the Joshua am I right in thinking the Joshua trees is the same as the rowan tree? Am I thinking, is that the same one? Or,
I'm going to have a quick look ski.
Because the rowan tree has another name, and I can't remember what it is.
It's an ash. That's all I know.
Oh, is it an ash?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I've got weeping willow is another favourite. Yeah, weeping willows I do like, and the willows come in all sorts of different varieties. Everybody's,
Willow. Sorry, it was a bad joke.
Willow, yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway, listen, we're 10 minutes over the thing, and we got to finish, I'm afraid. We thinks we have a red sky tonight means the shepherds will have delight. And let's hope he's having a nice pie. That's a pie and mash, We don't see many shepherds these days, do you? In their smocks. No. Certainly not on the South Downs. You never see any of them. Mountain ash. Oh, yes, that's right. Thank you, Linda Kane. That's the word. Mountain ash was the other word for rowan tree. And I do like the rowan tree. I think it's very nice. It's got the Atkinson. Does the Atkinson diet, doesn't it?
Joshua tree, the yucca palm, tree yucca, and palm tree yucca.
Ooh, yucca.
All different names for it.
There we are. Box trees, hedges remind me of my childhood, says Linda Kane. My grandfather grew them as edging to his veg pots. So that's something that she wrote down just now, and I read it out as you heard.
Well done.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, thank you so much for coming along tonight. It's been absolutely fantastic. Wonderful to get all the videos. Don't forget you can send in a video to me, and the instructions are in the description. Thank you to the lovely Julia, who is sitting over there, although actually my monitor is this side, so that's where I actually can see her, whereas I'm just looking into nothing there, pretending. Hello, Julia. You're not actually
Whereas there. I do have a monitor that side, where you on Skype are. So I am looking at you and I look that way.
All right, there you go. So now they know. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you very much for the phone call. Sorry we didn't get very many in, but we did get some, which is good. And I hope you have a wonderful time. Tomorrow you will be lucky to see the lovely Julia and myself and little Joseph trying to fend ourselves off some dirty great big cows who are very determined to beat us up somewhat on the South Downs. Something to look forward to. No reading of the story of a Norfolk farm. That will commence on Monday. But thank you very much to Judith and Julia for the monitoring. And thank you for Julia for appearing on the show. Thank you for you guys doing that. Have a good weekend.
Thank you to the contributors and the commenters and the callers.
Yes, and thank you to the internet for making it all possible. The internet without which, the AAA batteries that go into some of the gadgets that we... Thank God for that. And the fact that the Earth isn't flat and it turns. And there's that big...
Thank goodness for that.
...disc in the sky that's, means at night time we can all go to sleep. Some of us.
Some of us.
And some of us don't. Anyway, thank you, Dawn, for ringing in and telling us about your dysfunctional family life as a kid. That was absolutely fascinating. I have written in the advert break to my MP to see if they can send somebody around to have you sorted out, because clearly you were lying. And we must go. Thank you, Julia.
I bid you all adieu and have a wonderful weekend, everyone.
Yeah, take care. We'll see you next time. Right, yes. I've got to just get out of this by saying bye, Julia.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
No problem. We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
And it's our pleasure. And then I get to the opening titles, or the closing credits, as people call them, and say thank you for watching. Goodbye. Goodbye. Roll tape.